Right, final panel of the day. Has anybody been in any of the previous panels today? Put your hands up or whatever. Okay, any favourites? Other than me, obviously. But which panels have you enjoyed the most? Red Dwarf?
Apparently that was a comedy show.
Apparently there was very little Red Dwarf conversation going on, wasn't there? Anybody got any Red Dwarf questions? Nope. But it was good. What have you enjoyed? You say all of them if you want.
Yeah, Red Dwarf, but there wasn't anything about Red Dwarf pretty much.
It's weird, I kept trying to get it onto the Red Dwarf thing, but it wasn't happening, was it? Norman's like, nope, off the tracks, we need to.
And what was the Star Wars one?
Yes.
I thought there'd be more people and more questions.
Yes. Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss I find sometimes with Q&A panels. Everybody's got a question, or nobody has one. And then if nobody has one, it gets quite awkward for me, because I'm like, yeah, they don't want to ask anything, so it's down to me again. Only if you want to ask a question. I don't need to stun cast. That's cool. So this is billed as a Marvel Doctor Strange panel, but I like to think of it as a Zara, Phythian and Clem Soul panel. They both appeared in Doctor Strange, so if you have Doctor Strange questions, that's cool. But if you also have questions about any other films they've appeared in, that is just as cool. Because Clem, you've been in more than one Marvel.
Yes, that's right. I was in Guardians of the Galaxy as a Clem prisoner.
So what was you obviously did Guardians first. What was your experience working on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh gosh, it was hot, exhausting. But it was, because I'm a Marvel fan as well, I was totally geeking out. I think it's funny actually, because I think that when I was a kid I used to buy Marvel comics in the 1970s. They were 5p each, and we used to save up pocket money for the comic books. And somebody remarked when we were on set, he said, "Oh, now Marvel are paying you back." So I thought it was really funny. Yeah.
So was it, did your agent phone you up and say, we'd
no,
like to
it
go
was
for
just
casting,
it was just a lot of the stuff I do is background work. So it goes through an agency, and an agency production will have a brief, what kind of looks they want, like a cinema for a prison sort of types, and maybe even ethnicity might come into it, and physical types. There are a lot of bodybuilders in Guardians, lots of people with tattoos, and so they kind of create the atmosphere for the, what the scene is. And yeah, but it's funny because I'd just come off working on Muppets Again, I think that's what it's called. Muppets Again, we were in a gulag prison scene, and so there was a common denominator of people. They'd obviously just siphoned, thought, because it was Disney as well, they probably thought, oh, let's get these guys and put them in Guardians. So it was nice. It was nice because they did mention that, yes, some of you we've seen before, we met you before. So yeah, there was a clue there that they would definitely save themselves a bit casting time and brought some of us in, yeah.
That's a good sign, isn't it, when you go, we've seen you before, come here. Yeah. You go, I did it right, that's cool, I'm going to be back again. So not one but 2 Marvel movies under your belt.
Yeah.
So for Zara, this is your first Marvel movie, isn't it, Doctor Strange? I've been following your career for probably about 6-7 years, I think, back in the day of He Who Dares and The Hike and all that sort of stuff. And I remember watching the trailer before Doctor Strange came out, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, yeah, I can't be it. And it was Zara Phythian in the trailer. That was cool. How cool was it when you first saw that trailer come out and you're in the trailer?
I think when the trailer first came out, we'd already been shooting scenes and production had already started. So it was interesting to find out what was going to be in the trailer from the scenes that we shot already. So it was cool. It was like, oh, there's me! Oh, there's me! But yeah, it was really cool. But really surreal as well for people to kind of go, oh, I saw you in the trailer, I saw you in Doctor Strange, whatever. And even, you mentioned The Hike and He Who Dares, which was some of the first productions I was involved with. Even now, it's still kind of rerun on like the Horror Channel and stuff, and I get messages all the time on Twitter and Facebook, oh, I saw you in The Hike. I'm like, wow, that's like 10 years old. But yeah, I've come a long way, so it's been a great journey so far.
The Hike was on Horror Channel of the week. It was
it?
scrolling through, I'm like, yeah, there's The Hike. So I was like, hey.
Yeah, it's been a great journey so far.
So how did you become involved in Doctor Strange? I mean, you're not just an actress. Did you prefer actor or actress, or doesn't it really?
I guess.
Not bothered?
No, I'm not bothered. Whatever.
Because
Actress, actor.
some people prefer one term than the other, and I've still not worked out which is the correct term to use.
Yeah, I have no preference, so either or. I think my career first started, well, I've done martial arts since I was 7 years old. So that's always been my first passion, and I think always will be. And I've competed around the world, and I was competing in America, and was spotted at this event by some kind of local directors and producers. And they sort of approached me and said, "Oh, would you love to come over and be in our film? We really want you to be in there." And I was like, "I just want to fight. I don't want to be in a film." I was like, "Yeah, okay, great opportunity." So I went over. I think we stayed there for like 6 weeks. Worked on this film. There was no action. Obviously, they spotted me competing, so I presumed there would be some kind of martial arts, some kind of action or fight or whatever. And it was just acting. And I was very nervous. I was like, don't really know what I'm doing here. But I loved it at the same time. And then when I came back to the UK, took some acting classes, different courses, and then realised that a lot of my friends in the martial art industry are in the stunt industry. I was like, I see the connection. And then started working on some commercials, kind of short films, things like that. And then, yeah, some features. Got an agent. And then obviously the audition for Strange came up, and we didn't know it was Doctor Strange at first. They just said it's a big role, and you should really go for it, really consider it. So I did, and I got the call back. And I was like, okay, great, it's gone well. And then heard nothing. And then I had another audition, and it was for Wonder Woman. And I didn't know it was for Wonder Woman at the time. And I got the call back, and I was like, oh, brilliant. And then heard nothing. I was like, oh, well, I did my best. Sometimes auditions, you get the role, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you think you've done amazing, and you don't hear anything. And sometimes you're like, oh, that went really bad. And then you get the job, so I wasn't really sure. My husband was on his stag do, and then I got a call back for both of them. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to work on a DC film and a Marvel film. Wow. And then they were filming at the same time. So I was like, okay, do I choose DC or Marvel? So I went with Doctor Strange, and the rest is history.
I think even if you chose Wonder Woman, I don't think that would have been a bad decision. I think both films are amazing in every way. So
yeah, not at all. And a lot of my friends worked on Wonder Woman as well, so it just would have been extra cool. So I've done DC and Marvel, but I had a great time on Strange. I was on there for like 8 months. We filmed in and around London, in the studios, in LA, New York, so got to travel. And Marvel really look after you, so it was a great experience. And the cast were amazing. Benedict, Tilda, Mads, Stuart. My role, I was a cast member, but I was also part of stunts, so I got to kind of train the actors with the stunt guys as well, with the main kind of stunt coordinators and fight coordinators, so that was a great experience. I got to teach Tilda how to use fans. I made Mad sweat, like I worked him, so it was really great, and they're all fantastic. So.
What was both your experiences of Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange?
Mine?
Did you have much to do with him?
No, because as a background, your first course may mean the first AD or second,
It's definitely very
These
surreal.
scenes that you're showing right now, it's just after Caecilius kills the priest, and in between the takes, Scott and I would just sit down and have a chat about fights, so it was really cool. On the sort of pews in the church. And that church, I think, was in Oxford, so it was an incredible location. But Scott was great to work with. I got on very well with him. I think on a production such as Marvel and Disney, I think there's only so much creative control you can have, perhaps. But I love his work, and I think, it was great to work with him. I think he might have liked to have maybe a bit more say, perhaps. I don't know. That's just my impression that I got sort of from being on the set. But I think he did a great job, and I think the visuals were amazing. So.
I think with Marvel and obviously Disney, which includes the Star Wars films where you've worked on some of those, Clem, they have a blueprint. So many films down the line that Scott couldn't have turned up and went, you know what, I'm going to do this. Because it'd be great. I know that messes the blueprint up. So.
Yeah. And even with all the fights, like every scene, all the fights, even if there's just a small bit of action or choreography, everything is set. We did a previs for everything. So it was great because I had to play Tilda in quite a lot of the previses when she did all the fights and stuff, so that was great for me. I was very busy. So everything is kind of set, and that had to be signed off, you know, by the top people. And if there wasn't something they liked or agreed with, or if there's a certain move they didn't want, or whatever, we had to go back and reshoot the previs. So everything was kind of filmed, and just like you said, it's kind of like a blueprint. Everything is set and done, so when you turn up on set to shoot, you just follow the blueprint. That's it. And there's no change. So, very effective way of shooting, very efficient.
It's working well, not only critically, but box office-wise as well.
Yeah, they've got their formula and it works, so why change it? Yeah.
So, moving on to Clem a little bit, you worked on a solo story, you worked on everything. Look at your filmography, it's insane. You must be like geeking out inside your head if you look at the films you've been in.
Yeah.
Bond franchise, done.
Well,
Marvel, done. Star Wars, done.
Yeah. The thing is that you're working on something, so it's like, sometimes you don't even think about it, and then you go, oh, but that's out next month, and you've already done another, say, 5 movies down the line that aren't out. So sometimes there's some movies I've worked on that haven't even come out yet. There's one that from ages back, I just read the other day that they were going to release, called London Fields. The guy filmed on that in 2013 or something. And it's been, I think the director was soon in production. Yeah, Johnny Depp made a guest appearance in it, but it was a Amber Heard film, basically. And yeah, I believe it's coming out in September. But yeah, it'd be a very young me in that film. So this is how it is in the movie industry. It's like some films take months, years to come out. So it's like, I think, last year, and then this year, I think maybe six films that I've worked on are coming out, or have come out. So yeah, you kind of don't think back, and it's only when I come to conventions and you have all those photos out on the table, and you kind of look back at it and go, God, yeah, you know. And then, of course, thanks to fans are asking you questions, and you remember things about what you did and how it was, and so it's great. It's a great way of kind of reminding us of, and appreciating what we've done.
I suppose it could be a bit strange, the film you mentioned that you shot years ago. Somebody will see that in October, come up to you in December and go, what was happening then? You're like, I've done so many films since then, I can't remember. So is that an it? Or was she gone? She liked it. Oh, there we are. How many years ago did we used to live in Northampton? 4 years ago we lived down south in Northampton, and over a 2-year period I was in 3 films. None of them have come out yet. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, where are they? So, but you never tempted to, when people pick up films and you go, yeah, I'm in that. What about this one? Yeah, I'm in that as well.
No,
You've got one of those filmographies where you can do it.
I haven't done that, but I've been trying to keep it quiet in my hometown, and people are starting to pick up on the fact that they've seen me on something, or just 2 small supermarkets, I think, Spar and a Co-op. And now, in Co-op, the lady said, oh, yeah, I think I saw you on Louvre the
You've
other
got
day.
a quite unique look there,
I
haven't
know,
you?
and I
You
thought...
agree, so you're quite recognisable.
And then I said, okay, I'm in that. I do some extra work, and I'm in that one. And now, then I felt, I'm going to go to Spar now. Now the guy in Spar said, oh, somebody told me the other day, and I was like, I can't go anywhere in my town without somebody saying, oh, what are you in now? And it's like, yeah, it's not what you want from your hometown.
Well, people are going to see you in films and then go, oh, that looks like that guy I saw in the supermarket. And they'll start to think they're losing it a little bit, I guess. I see that guy everywhere. I was going, Spectre, he was in there. But, so, you are an athlete as well as an actor. So, is your training regime when you're in a film, is it different to when you're training for a competition or sometimes it's
That's a good question.
similar?
So when I used to compete, my training regime was very tough, very strict, as well as diet. So it's different for film. You still have to kind of have a good level of fitness, and I'm talking in terms of kind of more action roles, I guess. I'm known for being physical, so if I go for an audition, it's usually some kind of physical expectation there as well. So maintaining that level of fitness and look, aesthetically, I think is important for my sort of career. And I like to stay fit anyway. I like to feel strong and to work out when I can. But the training is definitely different from when I used to compete. I used to train like 2-3 times a day, weight training, sparring work, whatever. But now I kind of just train for the role or maintain my level of fitness. So it's not as tough in certain ways, but then in other ways it's tougher. So for example, on Strange, when we had the prep, we had like 3 months prep. We were training every day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Like solid, we had an hour lunch break, a couple of little water breaks, but like solid training every day for the 3 months. So it's quite intense. So it's important in between films to kind of make sure I can maintain that. So then when I need to jump back into a role, I can kind of be on the right level. I mean, I'm training for a role right now. I'm going to be playing a role of a soldier, so it's important that I have a physical appearance of a soldier or look strong. I think that's important, especially for female characters on screen. If they're playing a physical role, to look physical. I think that, is important. Personally, anyway, you guys might disagree, but if it's a physical role and you see this character and she's fighting and tough and she's a soldier, whatever, then I think it's important to have muscle tone. I think it's important to be able to be fit, and I always want to portray a character that's believable, not just in the acting but in the physical sense as well. So yeah, I like to stay in the gym. Yeah.
Which you portray those characters back to He Who Dares, even Cannibals and Carpet Fitters, which hasn't yet come out, has it? But it's a great film, I have said it.
Yeah, that's going to be out at the end of the year. Cannibals and Carpet Fitters does exactly what it says on the tin.
Somebody once said to me, "What's it about?" And I'm like, hey, "Did you hear
Cannibals
the
and
title?
Carpets.
It is
Yeah.
about Cannibals and Carpet Fitters."
So I play a carpet fitter, but we have a little bit of a run-in with some cannibals, so it's very fun, very funny. Yeah, so I mean, on that film, after Doctor Strange, I had knee surgery because unfortunately one of the stunt guys had fallen on me in a rehearsal. So yeah, my knee was a bit of a mess. So I had to have knee surgery after, and then I had 2 films I was working on, sort of, whilst I was kind of in rehab and recovery. So the first day I rocked up to Cannibals and Carpet Fitters, I was still on my crutches. So James Bush is a fantastic director. I've always wanted to work with him. There's a couple of opportunities to work with him, and then schedules clashed and wasn't able to. So when I rocked up on set, I was just smiling, and James was like, "It's fine, I'm going to work around it, it's absolutely fine." And he did, and he sort of catered that for me. And then the fight scene that was in the film was put towards the end of the schedule, so it allowed me a little bit more time to recover. But being a carpet fitter, you got to be pretty fit. Yeah.
It's one of those film titles that you mention and people just go, because it is a very clever title. I love it. It's nearly as good as Dead Hooker in a Trunk, which is actually a real film as well. Just one of those titles where you will just instantly remember what it is. And James let me watch the film quite a few months back, and it was
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And you can't tell that you would have been on crutches because the fight scenes, the pure Zara to...
Yeah, I mean, when I was on crutches, I literally couldn't walk. It was tough. But I really wanted to do the film and work with James, and really glad that he sort of allowed me the time to recover. So then when I had a fight with Lee, we could kind of hit each other, so it was great.
Is that the only injury that you've sustained whilst making a movie, or is it quite prone because you do all the stunt work and stuff?
It is prone. I mean, you can pull stuff and get niggles and things like that. I mean, for my whole sort of fighting career, the only injury I really had was a broken nose and a really torn hamstring. And then as soon as, you would think, in that sense, I'm going to have more injuries fighting, for real. But yeah, so the stud injuries really. So I think, just my hamstring's been the worst thing. I've broken bones before. It's fine. I think I'd rather break a bone than tear a muscle or a tendon. It just heals quicker. But yeah, so my knee has been the worst injury. It's frustrating because it wasn't my fault.
I mean, it's your fault. It's one thing, isn't it? You go, "Oh, it's my fault. I shouldn't have done that and I've damaged myself." But if somebody else, "Oh, come on, how's this fair?"
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, Marvel looked after me. They were amazing. They sorted out all my surgery, all my rehab, all my treatment. So, it was great. In one sense, it's a good job that I did it on that job and not on maybe a smaller production or by myself.
because then you wouldn't have the care afterwards, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you've worked on a lot of action films, Clem. Your first one was 47 Ronin.
Yeah.
Now, Neil said you were an artist. You're still an artist, as in an artist. Now you're a screen artist as well. How did you go from being an artist going, you know what, I'm going to be in movies? Because 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves is a big film. So how did that come about?
There was a big call out for East Asians. They basically, I think they needed like 500. And there weren't 500 essays in the whole of the UK that were in the business. So actually, it's quite an important film in terms of kind of, it brought in a lot of East Asians into the film business, and a lot of them have gone on to do stunts and or training for stunts, and they've carved themselves a career out of doing that. So I'm quite grateful for that movie. That movie was quite important for that. But in terms of nothing really, it was just something. My brother was in Casino Royale, and he had a credited role in that as Mr. Fukuta. He was one of the poker players, and he just asked me he said, you got a similar look, I think you should give it a go. And I did, and that 47 Ronin was one of the first movies I worked on, and I think I worked on a Heineken commercial as background, and it was in that particular one that the director walked past and, oh, can we have you up in the front? So it was kind of like, this become like a theme, often I get picked for things, and then the director sees me and he wants to focus on me or put me in the scene, prominently in a scene, to create the character, if you like, for the scene. So I just thought, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm quite enjoying this, and I just joined more agents and got more work, and now it's got to the point where I go to production, any production I go to in the UK, it's like somebody that I know I've worked with, and all by reputation, they know me, that I've worked on something, whether it's the hair, makeup department, or the costumes, or some of them get really excited, the costume get really excited when they see me, and he gets to dress me up or whatever. So, and I just started, I started to get more and more work and join more agencies, and it's going all right.
What's the most popular film where people talk to you? Well, tell me a story about that film, which seems to be
Probably
the one in
Doctor
advance.
Strange. I was quite prominent in that scene. You see me, it seems to be a scene that people remember. Or one of the Doctor Who episodes as a clockwork droid. Again, there was the director on that pulled me out to be featured in that. And there was a lot of single lens shots of me in that. So yeah, probably those two I'd say were the ones that people remember me for. I do get confused with my brother and James Bond often.
You were in Casino Royale, though, wasn't
you? You what?
Yeah, people saying you were in Casino Royale.
Yeah, they think I was Casino Royale.
Inspector.
And now my brother tells me that actually some people would stop him in the street and go, weren't you in Spectre?
Ha, that's what you want, isn't it? People stopping him thinking,
so
that works. And so you're working on a whole bunch of stuff, or you've got a whole bunch of stuff that's waiting to come out. Don't know which one it is, but Transit 17. I seem to be waiting forever for Transit 17
Yeah,
to
so
come
I did
out.
a film called Transit 17 in Belgium, which was a low-budget production over there. I played one of the lead roles, and the locations are great in Belgium. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Belgium, but first time I'd been, and I thought it was amazing. Really great crew. The cast were great as well, and that was just before I filmed Doctor Strange, so that's a little while ago. But people always ask me, like, when is it coming out? I'm like, I don't have anything to do with that side of the production. So hopefully, I've been told that all post-production is now complete. So hopefully we can have a release date soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's a sci-fi film, so fingers crossed it lives up to its expectations. So I'm looking forward to seeing it as well.
I think it's because of the social media, whoever's in charge of the Transit 17, pictures and stuff, they started sharing them right at the beginning.
Yeah, they're
so
like
it feels like it's been...
it feels like it's been,
Oh, come on, but it probably hasn't. They just started very early on.
absolutely.
building
To be fair, I'm probably, you know, a little bit victim to that, because once something comes out, then I'll share it and tag it and, you know, let everybody know about it, and then it's like, oh, well, when is it coming out? Like,
Yeah, like, I don't know.
soon.
Yeah, you
It's
do,
gone out
because
soon.
you keep sharing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then Dark Kingdom, which we'll mention later on, is coming out as well. So, busy.
Just quick one on 47 Ronin. My best friend worked on 47 Ronin as well. Gary Powell was the stunt coordinator, very well known in the industry, and Vincent Wang was one of the fight choreographers, and he also worked on Doctor Strange, so there's a little connection there as well.
Clem's nodding like, yeah, I know. Yeah. So any questions for these two wonderful people? Nope.
Oh, there was no hands there. I was like,
Left hand side first.
My question's for Zara. Like, how do you feel there's a difference in portraying strong female lead, like someone who's got power and yeah, that's the difference.
on screen, I think is important. I think, yeah, and I think the sort of times are changing in roles like Lara Croft or Wonder Woman. Strong female roles are becoming more prominent and more accepted, more popular. But for me, I think it's important, if I'm playing a role, I want my audience to believe that I can do what I'm doing on the screen as well, and it's not just for film. So if there's a fight scene, obviously it's choreographed and whatever, but I want to be able to do those moves, to pull it off, to make it real, and to make it as raw as possible, so that when you watch the film, you believe it and you buy into it more. And that's just my personal preference. So I think it's important, absolutely, to have strong lead female roles, and then for also for the actor or for the performer to have some physical presence as well. If you have a fight scene with a male-female fight scene, for example, and the female, unless it's kind of a superhero movie where the actress has powers and magic, like in Doctor Strange or whatever, then you believe that they're going to do something. That is just awful. Yeah, shut up. No, we're joking. If you watch a male-female fight scene, usually, the female will win. You'd be like, oh, but that wouldn't really happen in real life. You don't believe it. It's a good fight scene, and it will be shot amazingly well, but you wouldn't believe it, really. You think, yeah, well, whatever. So I think it's really important to be able to sell the fight scene and tell a story and to make it as believable and real as possible within the realms of film and choreography. So I think that's really important.
You both.
Oh,
Go on.
after you.
No, after you, sir.
All right. Thank you. You spoke about physically how you prepare differently from your fighting career to obviously your acting career. I was just wondering, mentally, different motivations and nervousness, stuff like that. How does that differ from your fighting to your film career?
That's a good question. I think because I used to compete not just in fighting, I used to do forms and kata and weapons performance as well. I think having that performance in that background helps with the acting and any kind of physical stunt roles as well. I think if I just had a fighting background, purely fighting background, I think it would have been a much, much harder transition to work in film, because it is different. It's different from having a fight if you're kickboxing or street fighting, whatever fighting you like to do, to then fight in front of camera, because it is different. The range is different. You have to kind of exaggerate things in a different way than what you would do. So a lot of times, if you're working with kind of real fighters, it's very hard to get them to adapt, because you have to kind of work them slightly different. But because of kind of the forms and more performance side of training, I think that helps. So whenever I kind of go into a role, I kind of work on those sort of the character build-up and the background, and I think that really helps me just with the confidence within the role to know how to play, or just to kind of research different kind of similar actors or similar characters in other films and things. But I still get nervous sometimes. It depends on what's kind of happening, what the role is, what the scene is. If I'm working with a massive actor, or if it's just me and I'm the only person in the scene. It's just different. But I think I guess it's kind of with anything when you, like if you got a new job, for example, first day at your new job, you get a little bit anxious, or a bit nervous, or first day at school. Same thing when you work on a new set. Once you get to kind of know everybody, you know the cast, you know the crew, you kind of feel comfortable, and then you can kind of be yourself and kind of go with it. In terms of the differences, I think I always put more pressure on myself on the acting side, because the physical side almost comes kind of second nature. But yeah, so I think I enjoy both, but for different reasons.
Brilliant, thank you.
Hope that answers your question.
You've both played roles on both sides of the coin, so to speak, goodies and baddies. So 2 questions. Which are your favourite roles that you have played, and what would be your ideal role? You know, what would be your dream role to play in any kind of film?
My dream role is any role that you get paid for. You know.
Good answer.
First and foremost, yeah, I think it. I don't know. Playing a bad guy or a sort of sly guy or something. I played a guy in this independent movie called Exit to Shanghai who's, you know, conniving, sort of always thinking of money and stuff, and it was interesting to kind of get into the psychology of what this guy must have went through to be the way he is. So in a way, it's kind of more interesting it's more meaty if you like, but then maybe I'm saying that maybe it's easier to play a bad guy than it is to play a good guy. I don't know, possibly I'm saying that, but I do enjoy that role, and my face often picked for things that are more to do with the bad side than the good side. So that's not how I am in real life, so I keep being told, but yeah.
I think different roles for different reasons, but I usually play a hero or a good person. So in Doctor Strange, it was great to play a baddie, so I loved it. I'd really love to play like a female Jason Bourne, or make Lara Croft my own, and that kind of strong female leads with some action. But any kind of film that has a good story. So I think it's important. It's not just all about the action, it's about the story as well. So if the story is good, you know, the audience can kind of relate to characters, and the action is amazing, then that's my ideal film and character.
How about Jane Bond?
Jane Bond.
Jane Bond, seriously, yeah.
Not feeling the Jane, but maybe, yeah.
Any final questions? Well, I'm going to let you two go back downstairs, get behind your desks, do your thing, and then I'll be down in about a quarter of an hour to pick a photo and add it to my wonderful film wall at home. I wish you both the very best. I'll be following your careers anyway. And thank you very much for taking it to the stage and teaching us all a bit more about what goes on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I round of applause for Clem and Zara, please?
Just before you leave your seats, can we just have a round of applause for Stuart, because he's been doing this all day and I think he's done a great job. So round of applause for Stuart, please.
Also, video clip. I nearly forgot about that. We have a video clip, don't we, that you sent me? We've got your show reel and the thing, the surprise. Yes. Hopefully we can find it.
Talking reality, you have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight, you ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these scenes don't just happen. No shade in jail, bitches don't come easy when you try to eat out producing a rap. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you try to cut out a piece of my pie, and I ask you politely, what's it that you offer me? I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher, yeah. Independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals, yeah. Let's be professional, thanks for your time. I've been scheming up a plan, I've been saving all I can, you can call me dangerous, the way I handle these bands, we ain't messing with the old model, new era, new kid, we full on still let the come up, it's not a flaw, my amigos and focus know what to do. After I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it.
We're gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Let's come back for the egg.
Will you give me what it wants?
Here, as far as the eye can see, and they're heading straight towards us.
What's the best way to get to the castle?
We go through the Dark Kingdom.
The Dark Kingdom is an evil place.
No one of sane mind has ventured into that land.
Have desecrated my land, killed my people. I offer you a choice. Die where you stand, or fight to death for your freedom.
Very well. We accept.